certainly somebody much more attractive to talk about. My running back 15, and it pains me to have him down at running back 15. I absolutely love the player. I had him last year in that one start, 28.1 PPR points. He led all running backs that one time he was used as the bell cow he should be. But Melvin Gordon's back, so I have to account for that. If for whatever reason we get a 70% Javonte Williams, I've seen a lot of the popular tweet these days seems to be, if anyone's going to be Jonathan Taylor, it's Javonte Williams. And I can get that because, he's that talented. And if he got the uptick in work, then yeah, he would crush it. But ultimately, I just don't see that happening with them forcing Gordon back here. So what's your take on this Broncos situation? Because it could be with Russell Wilson there. There's a ton of upside for this whole offense, including the backfield. What's your kind of take on it?
Yeah, that's basically exactly what I said. Is he reminds me of the 2021 Jonathan Taylor, but that's not necessarily a good thing. It's what happened last year. Every beat was saying he's going to have 50% of the snaps. And that's exactly what we saw for the first 6 weeks of the season. And then Frank Reich came to his senses, but it might still be the same thing with Javonte, where it's 50-50. Like, you're just hoping talent wins out as it should, but it might not. It doesn't always. And last year in the games both played, the split was 52-48 in Melvin Gordon's favor. Like, it was weird. Gordon was better by a lot of key stats, but by the stat that matters most to me, Javonte was extremely elite. He ranked top 5 in PFF history in missed tackles forced per touch. And then in college, he had the best ever PFF college season by the same stat. Like, that stat matters so much to me. I think he's so good. We know what his upside is. In that one game Melvin Gordon missed, he had 23 carries, 9 targets, 178 yards from scrimmage, nearly 30 fantasy points. Like you said, Russell Wilson is a massive upgrade. And you just argue it both ways. It's like, okay, RB14, if it's a committee, that's an L. He needs a 75-25 split to be RB7 by just volume. But again, remember, he's really good, and the offense will be better. Or you just say talent always rises to the top. Melvin Gordon's 29. He's not good. On that argument, you can say Nathaniel Hackett was asked, "What is this? How are you going to deploy your running backs?" He said, "I'm going to feed who's ever hot." And I said, I don't know about you, but to me, Javonte Williams looks like Anna de Armas next to Melvin Gordon's Queen Elizabeth. And I think that's true. But the argument, too, is like Nathaniel Hackett has only ever employed a disgusting committee backfield. This is the same guy who inexplicably capped Aaron Jones at 60% of the team snaps every year. And so, again, to me, it just feels like a coin flip. He's a great upside wins championships pick like Jonathan Taylor was last year. But for these concerns, he's my RB13. I don't know.
Yeah, they're all fair. All the stats you highlighted there certainly illustrate the talent, the guy that deserves the role. I did see some tweets lately from the beat writer Cecil Lammy, who has typically had a pretty good pulse on.
He's really good.
He usually has a good sense of the Broncos, what they're going to do. And he was suggesting 70% for Javonte, that this is the Javonte show. It's not a committee. So if that is the case, then end of round 2 is going to be a steal for Javonte Williams. I am worried that Melvin Gordon actually outscored him last year. He had more. He outscored him in 10 of their 16 games together. He was the higher scoring guy. And Melvin Gordon's just good. I know he's old. He's 29, but he is a good player. I don't want to act like this is just a random guy coming in and doesn't really deserve the work. Gordon's good, and they really wanted him back. But if that does end up being that 70% switch, man, that could be great. And then the thing I love about Hackett, yes, he's had some committees, but typically they've had an RB1 emerge because he loves to use those running backs so much. The quarterback passer rating to running backs, highest of anybody in a Nathaniel Hackett offense. He's never finished with fewer than 103 running back targets, top 10 in running back targets and target share in 6 of his 8 seasons. The lead pass catching RB has had 55 or 65, 90, 68, 48, 78, 68, 63, 65. So 65 or more in all but one season. So if we get, Javonte getting 65 to 70 targets, that's not a huge increase on what he had last year. I believe he was around 50 to 55, but 10, 15 more for a target, a monster that's getting those type of efficiency metrics that you said, that could go a huge way. to just boosting that. And the thing I really like about just the Broncos that I think is going a little bit under the radar, I read a great Athletic article about how Hackett, when they asked, do you want to trade for Russell Wilson? Of course, he was like, fuck yeah, hell yeah, let's go. And they said, make sure you study the film. He's like, I studied the film. Trust me, I know it all. But they said, no, really go back and study it. And he said what he lasered in on was the first 6 games of 2020. And if you remember, that's when Russ was absolutely cooking. He was on pace for like 61 touchdowns, hucking the air on the ball. They were throwing more on first down than any other team. And he was like, why would I ever go away from this? And that was the question everybody was asking Pete Carroll by midseason was, why are you not just continuing to ride this? So it sounds to me like he really wants to craft this offense around what they were doing with Russ when he was cooking. So for the pass catchers, for Russ, and especially for the running backs, even if it was a little bit of a committee, if that's the type of offense, I mean, Carson was even catching touchdowns after touchdowns in that offense. So I'm a lot higher on the Broncos. And now that you take out Patrick, sucks for him, great player, hate it, but it also condenses everything just a little bit more for us fantasy nerds. So, I mean, I'm all about the Broncos right now. And I didn't enter the offseason that way, but the more I've been studying them, the more I get into them. And I really think Javonte, the talent, is an easier bet to make at this point with all those other surrounding factors.
You want to bet on good running backs. I'm pretty sure this guy's really good.
Yeah, easy to do.
What is up, you fantasy wolf? Thanks so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, share your thoughts in the comments, check out some more videos, and join the newest Wolfpack by subscribing below.